It's Tuesday now, so there's no excuse for Monday problems. Correct? Correct. They're all part of the past. They only exist totally in imagination. Hi, kids. December the 2nd, Tuesday, as a matter of fact, 2025. Isn't it amazing how this year is running and running and running on? Man, I can't believe it's just about the end of 2025. But I'm not going in that much of a hurry. Hey, how are you? I'm good. Thanks. So here we go. Hopefully, all technical glitches of yesterday are just a non-fond memory that we won't have to deal with today. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's time for coffee and conversation and things that I hope will help you get a good day going, right? 8 o'clock in the central time zone, 28 degrees on the thermometer with a feel like 20, 22. But honestly, it's nowhere near like it was yesterday morning because yesterday morning was so, um, because we had the little bit of snow spitting out, a little bit of uh, other cold frozen stuff. But thankfully, it worked out because it looked like it could be dicey. Yeah, always a shout out to my pal Brandon Ruley with Storm Track 360. He kept his eyes on the sky and other areas where it did, like over in Northwest Arkansas. They had some issues over there, but again, not a whole lot. Again, early precursor for winter and what happens with winter. So always, always, always remember follow stormtrack360.com, get their app, all that stuff. Because again, we've all got apps on our phone built in that'll keep us up to date with the weather, but they don't give us the human touch, right? And the human eyeballs of things. So I'm hoping everything is going well. If you're in the chat, please say hi. I don't have that worked out on my end yet to be able to see it. There was candid story. So actually, I went to install the chat widget that would like make it better for me to see the chats as we go. Uh, but for some reason, I forgot my password, which I don't understand because I have a system with it and it didn't work. So I don't know what I did. So I got to fix that. But we're not going to hold up progress on that because we've got so much wonderful stuff going on. And certain things there's just no need to pause for at this time. It'll get cleaner, sharper, better, and all that as we go. Let's see what else is going on. Oh, let's see. Let's go through the motions of coffee. Oh, yes. This is like my second cup. Well, not even all my second cup because I still have it. And as such, we're doing okay, but we're not there just yet. Okay. So anyway, all things are good in my world. I hope everything is good in your world. Had some fun yesterday thinking about the weather because um, you'd have to look at the timestamp, I guess, because I can't remember what time Alicia and we had to run over to the Walmart, and it just hit me because that's when everything was like still teetering. It's like the weather advisory is floating around and all this stuff, and normally and traditionally, it was pretty clear to see when people in this region are concerned about the weather, milk, bread, gone, right? It's just, well, and that's when the inspiration hit me to tap into the technology that was available. That technology, human intuition. And that human intuition said, huh, is the weather going to get bad? Let's find out by way of the milk sandwich index. And it was born, and it was fun, and it really was funny. But I was shocked. There was like total like nothing but bread, and then I went to the milk, nothing but milk. So either, which it turns out that the milk sandwich index was correct. That yeah, it wasn't a big deal. Nobody panicked. So that was nice. Or everybody is like totally signed up for the whole gluten free thing and dairy free thing, and so whenever the weather does go bad, those who are gluten and dairy free, they have nothing to worry about now because they don't need to run out for milk sandwiches. So I guess there's a silver lining to every cloud. What are we doing today? We are going to talk about a few things because again, I've kicked off a new series and we're on day 2, and we'll dive a little deeper here in just a minute as we all just catch up on what's going on around and about ish. So, but yeah, it's like going into the holidays, and one of the biggest things of this time of the year is understanding that there is a loneliness epidemic. And with that loneliness epidemic, we all got to do the best we can to reach out to one another. We've lost connection. That's a fact. Prove me wrong. We just do. Because again, like even it's so funny because it's like it's such a habit for me when I'm out. If I see anybody, as soon as we lock eyes, I smile and say hi. Even in the middle of a live stream, it's just ingrained in me. And why do I do that? Because I like just engaging with people. Man, it's nice. And I see so many people just looking kind of miserable. True story. Last night, once again, I had to run out to the Walmart for a thing. And as I was walking in the door, there was a fella who was standing close to the door, and honestly, he looked like Ted Turner, but it wasn't Ted. I don't think. If so, that would have been an awesome paranormal investigation to have. But no, it was a guy who looked a lot like Ted Turner and looked just as not happy and kind of miserable as Ted Turner did when he wasn't laughing and yucking it up for an interview. Anyway, but I just kind of locked eyes with him. He kind of locked eyes with me, and he still had his scowl. And I just said, hello. And he kind of paused, and I saw a break. I saw the break, and I saw the little twinkle in his eye, and then he smiled back and said, hello. That's it. Just that simple, right? But in this new series that I'm going where I'm walking you through parts of the message and philosophy and idea inside of my book, Toys or Totems, is that, again, there's stuff in there that I know helped me. And I think it'll help you too. And today we're kind of looking at, we will be looking at, like, when it comes to what the little things that we have around us, be it your favorite shoes, be it uh, your television. I mean, whatever, doesn't matter. Whatever it is that gives you something that connects you to a happiness inside of you. And for today's like totem of the day, I made these and they honestly suck. They didn't come out like I wanted. It's like this actually says the the time capsule totem, but you can't see. And then the branding logo there that you definitely can't really make out there. But I promise you it's there. But anyway, so it's about the time capsule inside of things because we're packing all this stuff into these little things that we have and we keep, and they all have like stuff in them, right? That makes it a point in time we can re-reference. But we'll get into that in a minute. I want to kind of update on the three pillars of everything. The book, there you go there. Huge shout out, Amber Russo. Thank you very much. She ordered a physical copy of the book by way of Amazon, and that is very much appreciated. And Amber, we miss you up here. We do, you and Brandon and Riley, and of course, the boy. He's doing great. I mean, Travis is. We're following along with all the stuff that you're sharing when it comes to his life in the military and the things he's been able to do. And again, boy, golly, that's a really cool thing to see. So anyway, it's really nice because he's really committed. You know what I'm saying? I love that. I really do. It's not for everybody, but for those that it is, it's awesome, 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 awesome. So again, Amber, thank you very much for picking up the book by way of Amazon, which any of you can do too, or you can come direct to me. Either way, it'll work. Let's see what else is going on. Oh yeah, like the evergreen content training stuffs and tips and tricks. We're probably not going to really dive into that hardcore till we get into January because I got a lot of stuff stacked up inside of December that again is kind of taking precedence because in doing a show of any kind, in my mind and in my world, it's always about, first and foremost, really connecting with the folks in the audience, right? And that sounds so pompous today because everybody's got a production studio in your pocket with your smartphone, right? So to do it ain't really that special anymore. Not that it was really all that special before, but it was an industry, and inside of the industry, not everybody could get in the industry. I mean, you had to put the work in, man, and all that. But still, this is about, at this point, I just want to do all I can to work with folks. Um, and I say work, but I shouldn't say work. Work's not the right. Just hang out with folks and do things that I don't know, get us through these times. Because I mean, let's be real, the economy is still crap. I don't know what the Cyber Monday numbers ended up looking like. Did you do any shopping online yesterday? I didn't. I really didn't. Actually, I spent a day of playing with more of the new tech and pushing it. Well, I ain't pushing. I'm pushing me on it to see what all it could do, and I'll share some of that here in a little bit too, because I am blown away, and the face of everything is changing, folks. And hopefully, I can keep you up to date on that because not everybody follows this stuff like I do. And but you might want to. You really might. If you find yourself doom scrolling or whatever else that you're trapped on, you might want to kind of look outside of the platforms to see what is going on because things is a changing. I'm not talking about politics. I'm not talking about conspiracies. I'm not talking about woo woo. None of that, man. I'm talking about real world things that are happening and available to the public that some folks are taking advantage of in a good way and others maybe not a good way, but definitely grabbing a hold of the bull by the horns and either riding that bad boy or making it look like it. But I don't know. I'm gonna do my part in trying to help you stay up to date as best as possible. But the project side of things with the virtual stump is great. Got the opportunity to get out and capture Jeff Pratt's virtual stump video, which is very simple: who he is, what he's running for, why you should vote for him. You can find that. Again, there's a 2026 virtual stump group on Facebook, as well as if you go to 72601life.com. You'll see the virtual stump little graphic you can click, and it'll take you to the page itself for everybody who's already there and everyone that I hope to have there. And then I probably shouldn't say this yet. I'm going to anyway. It looks like with what's happening with the response that we're getting from different people and places, that I do believe we're going to expand this. Like I say, our home is here in Boone County, and that's where our primary focus is. But we're going to stay in Arkansas though. But I think you're going to. There are things that are going to be on the ballot when it comes to like initiatives and measures and stuff like that. That frankly, be honest, do you know anything about them? Probably not, because we don't have a source to just look at. That's part of the thing of trying to fix this stuff. And again, I'm not trying to fight the system. I'm just trying to enhance our part of it. And we'll see how that works out. So that's looking pretty good. But yeah, I had a great conversation with Jeff yesterday. And again, it's so funny. And it's like, I look back when the first time I had done a well, like the predecessors to the virtual stump back in 2010 with the Here, There, and Everywhere show I was doing on TKO8. And that year, it was an election year, and it was funny, man, because folks were so receptive. And the first person who came and sat down for the camera to tell me again, still the same basic questions, how did I frame it then? I framed it as earn my vote is how I framed it. Not a lot of difference, but it's evolved, right? So anyway, but it was a matter of who he was, what he was running for, and why you should vote. And I've always appreciated Jeff for that. I really have. And I thank him again for playing along one more time. And I'll say it loud and proud and bold again. Again, I'm not looking to strong arm anyone. It's not my goal here. It's just a matter of I'm giving the people, me and you, an opportunity to connect with the candidates, these folks over here, who want to be the ones in our representative government. And it's a free thing. It doesn't cost you to check it out. It doesn't cost them anything to participate. And it's all built and ready to go. And I just fill in the holes. And anybody who doesn't want to do that, if you don't want to do that, okay, now we'll work with schedules, right? That's what we do. I was like, this is not, again, I'm not looking to hammer down on anyone. And we've got the first thing to come up is the primary in March. And like I said, we've got a lot of people on there that it will matter what happens in March. But anyway, it's just a matter if someone's not willing to take this one little step that has no pressure whatsoever and inside baseball. If you're like a candidate and you're worried about being nervous or presented in a way, ask anybody who's done it. First take, very seldom is it the take. We normally can get it in 3 because I don't want you to look bad. I want you to be you, and you're not a video presenter, Mr. Person running for office. And we all know that. I hope we all know that. And so I like to give you an opportunity to get to take 2 and then maybe take 3. And if we need to go to take 4 or take 5 to get you comfortable where you're you in this, because that's all you're wanting to do if you're genuine. Otherwise, I just say if you're not willing to do that, how are you going to serve the public if you won't talk to the public? Just saying. And so, and we've got well, anyway, we'll talk about that later. But yeah, but so that's the whole thing. Tell your friends, 2026 virtual stump. I should probably start. I got to get coordinated on my end to start making the link process better. Good morning, Donna, and thank you very much for the message there. Again, I'm trying to keep up with chat stuff, and it gets a little tricky. So please don't take offense if I don't see it. It is nothing personal. It's just it's an ergonomic thing in making the bells and whistles work properly. So all of that said, there's that. What else we're doing here? We've covered all those little things there, and it is 15 minutes into the 8 o'clock hour. It is still, it's 26 now versus 28. But I think we're going to be okay because actually the forecast looks lovely. And you'll start to see, hopefully, you're going to start to see some tweaks on the 72601life.com site for like the weather and headline updates. I have the robots do the aggregation for me. So, and the cool part is anytime you click on one of those headlines because you want to learn more about stuff, it takes you to the direct site and source, which is about the best you can do, honestly, because I'm not going to pose as a, like a poser. This is, I'm gathering the news. No, I'm not. I got the robots looking for headlines and they aggregate it down and it'll take you to the people who are actually beating the streets, or yeah, I hope they're beating the streets. Because I think some of the sites out there, which I'm not going to knock, some of them are just completely, whether they're probably all powered by AI now, but they were before. As far as like the RSS feed type sites, that they're just little modules that were already built in and had, you don't care about that. But but they've been automated for a very long time. So anyway, I'm hoping to keep that freshening up, and then the destination and business guide for the 72601 Life, that'll be getting I hope to have that completely refreshed and updated before the year is out. Just to get to double check all the listings in there of who's still here, who may not be here, and things like that. Because again, the whole purpose of that, it came from that when people do come to town and people who are in town don't know what's here. And I wanted to just create, again, I like creating centralized stuff, but to create something that would give people a map, if you will. And it's totally free. And the way I've got it set up is when you do go to the 72601life.com page and you click on the graphic to look at it, it works basically like an app without having to download an app. But you can save it because it's a PDF file. Oh, yeah, that's how these things kind of work. There's a little bit more you can do, but on the basic level, you can do that. Well, I may if they, I'll probably put together a how-to on that, so how you can do it for your stuff. Okay, we'll work on that. Um, anyway, because there were just people who would come to town or who live here now and didn't know what all is here, and it's like, where's a good place to eat? Well, that's all a matter of you. And then you talk for 15 minutes for no good point, you know. So I fixed it, sort of. I mean, that's my fix for it. If it's a fix for you, great. If you got a better idea, go with it. We ain't competing, brother. We're making the world a better place. What else are we doing? I think that kind of covers everything as far as like the main talking points of the morning. I haven't really looked at the national stuff. I've got an eyeball on it, just to kind of keep up, and it's crazy out there, man. I don't know what's in your feeds, and what the algorithm says you need to learn and do. Mine are wacky, so I guess this says a lot about me, huh? I own it, but yeah, it's just boring. It's the same old thing, really and truly. It's the dog and pony show. It's the get you worked up, your emotional uh, levels heightened to and distract you from doing something good with yourself. So, with that said, we're going to move into day two of hoping to really encourage you to kind of break through some things that might very well be a hindering thing, especially this time of year. We want to bust through the loneliness. We want to encourage folks, you encouraging me encouraging you, um, to know that it's not all bad, man. Things can get heavy, but it's not the end of everything, right? So we're going to kind of like reframe some things and think about things from a perspective. Day two, and like I showed you at the very beginning, involved a time capsule. And the one that I created looks like crap. And you really, I mean, if you look, if you squint, hold your tongue just right, you can kind of sort of read the text that's embedded inside of there, but you're not going to do that on that camera, are you? No. We may revisit that. Anyway, it served its purpose. But anyway, so today, in the whole thing of everything that we're doing, is when it comes to the things that are around you, right? They hold a meaning of some sort to you personally, whether you realize it or not, and it can date all the way back to childhood, right? And so here, let me counter it. Now, this is from page 10 of guess what? My book, Toys or Totems. But if you go to page 10, follow along, children. If you go to page 10, and we start there, and just kind of let's see. Let me go back to 9 so we can lead in there. So the last line of page 9 is this is about remembering what you never really forgot. Now, this is from the introduction. And inside of the introduction is where I set the stage. This isn't just about nostalgia, okay? This is about getting into why you have nostalgia that reflects with you. Anyway, page 10, because that toy on your shelf is a memory with a purpose. That dented lunchbox, that beat up action figure with the cape half torn, it's not just a collectible. It's a totem, a silent witness, a symbolic artifact of who you were, who you still are, and who you might dare to become. So, all those things that you have around you, your knickknacks, the decor you change out every season, if you are one of those lunatics. But sorry, Alicia. Anyway, but if that is you, there's a reason deeper in there that you might have lost connection with. It may have become a habit that you do these things or you keep these things. So if you will stop, pick something up and really examine it and see what it very well may say to you, kind of listen. Because most likely, even if you start, let me find a good example or an example, whatever, something that I haven't shown you yet. This is a stretch. No, it's not. Okay, right here. Now, I did not purchase this. This was actually a gift from Miss Becky at the Apple Tree Mall in Branson, right? She is also so kind. She has Toys or Totems available there in her booth. She also works there. But she has like an amazing selection of like the baby dolls, like even the real life ones that are super creepy, but some folks like them. Godspeed. But anyway, she had given me this, and I just thought it was cool. And what is it? It's the King, baby. Now I haven't done my digging to see exactly what year this one came out, but what's cool about it? Now, why did I want it in the first place, or whatever? I don't know exactly. Other until I started thinking about it. Actually, my memory of Elvis Presley. I am just old enough to remember the day that Elvis passed away. Right? Put that over there. I have got to get a giant warehouse and workshop, and one day I will. But I remember when Elvis passed away. And now in my family circle, so I mean, I was young. I mean, I was like 4 years old, but I remember this and I remember the feelings. And I have an aunt who was a big Elvis Presley fan. She actually had at the time, there wasn't, I don't remember a whole lot of those things, but there was Elvis memorabilia everywhere, right? But she actually had an Elvis doll that was still in the box back then. That was 77. Um, but it was a sad day, right? But then also everything else that was attached to Elvis as a whole, as the institution that he is now, right? I think it's kind of safe to say that Elvis is an institution bigger in his post passing than when he was actually even alive, right? Because I mean, it's like he can't make any more mistakes ever. You know what I'm saying? And so the image can be shined and polished and everything. But I look at that, and again, I see that Elvis Presley, and it could take me back to 77, and I remember those times, and I remember the things that I learned back then, and the imprinting of stuff that got on me. Because I think it's just a little bit harder about it. Maybe too hard, maybe not. But what I do know in channeling, because it's funny, it's like when I sit still and I think about that day, that moment, and that room that doll was in. I can see it. Can you do that? I bet you can. I bet you could pull up that file when you whatever it doesn't matter. I mean, it can be so many different things because every single little knickknack thingy bob you have around has a giant memory attached to it. And somewhere in there is where you can grab a hold of the good thing that brought it about. Because sometimes you want to hold on to the things that remind you of the bad stuff that happened. That's okay too, because sometimes it's good to have a reminder of like, this represents when I screwed up and I don't want to do that again. So here's my reminder. There's nothing wrong with that. But do you take time to do that? Just kind of stop and look at what you got and reopen that time capsule whenever you need to kind of pull up that emotion and that feeling. Maybe you should. Might help with some stuff. And again, and it's also like, now here's the thing. If we trap ourselves in the past and nostalgia for that purpose, it can get dicey. It can get lonely because you're like, well, they're gone now. I don't have that relationship anymore. Those people, places, and things only exist in imagination now. But let's reframe that. When you have the opportunity to look back, hindsight being 2020, you do have the opportunity to overanalyze it, scrutinize it to death, and also not necessarily remember it correctly because as time goes, memories fade, details can go away. However, I'll bet you the negative is always easier to like be for whatever reason, this crazy mind virus that we all have inside of us to pull up the negative, but you can flip the script on that. For every one of those little, but they're gone now. More importantly, that they were here then. And all of the good that they brought me is still here and here and here. Captured in a little time capsule, not this little monstrosity that I made, but the other fun ones. Like, well, for instance, another wonderful little time capsule that I just created recently would be my little Odie the Ogre, who was born in December. Yeah, it probably was. November, December of 2008 when we first put together the Ozarks Ghost Research Society. Because again, that was a great time. And I've got this little guy here because I always wanted a Mickey Mouse. And Odie at that time and his cohort Zipper, my little ghost, which has not been added to the assortment yet, but I'll be working on that. But I can look at Odie, the ogre, and it takes me back to all of the things that we did at that time in producing that show that aired on K26. And we did watch parties over at Uncommon Grounds. If you remember Uncommon Grounds, it was the first coffee shop like that here in town, and it was there where Los Ebanos is now. I have done a lot of things inside of that building. I really have. And it was great every single time, like Uncommon Grounds. Like I said, we did the watch party for the Ogre stuff back in '08 and '09. And then fast forward to the end of '09 into 10, we did the first Ozark Idols there. And that was wild because it was still Uncommon Grounds. It was a much smaller location than I ever should have attempted to use to let people audition for Ozark Idols. We packed that joint out every single Thursday night, standing room only, people outside showing us what they got in the world of singing and entertainment and talent. And it was so much fun. It really was. And it was a crazy amount of work. It really was, man. It's like, gosh, I think about that again, and then we're sitting here and we got these boxes. We have these little bitty, teeny tiny, flat boxes that could do everything you could ever dream and imagine. But in 2009, we didn't have those. And I was still working I had two cameras for that thing. The stationary camera, thank God, was the big TV camera. It was actually, if you want to look up the model type, knock yourself out, but it was the DV5000. That damn thing was big and bulky and cumbersome. We even used them. We used it like for doing like football games too. And you imagine running up and down that damn field with that camera. Oh, son, no. Be glad for what you have with technology, kids. But anyway, so I had that. I had set up on a tripod. It was shooting over into the corner. Charlie Smith, who had Posters and More at the time, he had printed off some big, good scale graphics to actually cover the windows there, so that I wouldn't have any light to fight with and backlight because it was the only corner we really had, and so we made it work. It was great. I actually have one of the DVD sets that I put together. It's not like the whole series, but I think I've got like the first big run because we got bombarded, man. It was crazy. I would have 25, 30, 40 people show up on an audition night. I recorded every one of them. And then I had a little handheld camera that and it was good because this one was great because it was a mini DV tape. So it was a pretty good quality and it was a 1 CCD chip. Preferably for like broadcast standards, you need a 3 CCD chip. But this one was a 1 CCD chip and you don't care about all that. But the truth is, it worked good enough because as as I would get everybody as soon as they started rolling and I was recording on the big giant monster camera, then I would like break off into the room and start getting actualities from people who are crammed into if you've been to Los Ibanos or when it was Primos or when it was Uncommon Grounds or if you go way back when it was Corky's, um, but I'm trying to navigate the crowd and then like get as much actuality stuff as I could, and then I would go to the person who was on just prior or who was going to come up next, so I could get their pre-performance interview or post-performance interview, and it was chaotic, and it was crazy, and it was fun, and I'll never do it again. Not for the work, not for the work ethic. It just nowadays the hoops that you have to go through in that with copyright and stuff like that. So I couldn't do that one again. It's not worth it. It's like then while I had little bit of an online thing for it to promote it, but it wasn't like it is now. So then when it came to broadcasting the performances, yeah, we had YouTube. That was about it because social like Facebook and everything really hadn't popped yet. Um, but we were broadcast, and with broadcast, we were covered for like this. The hope was to get more people coming out of the hills, sharing off their talents that weren't necessarily just singing other people's songs or the karaoke stuff, which was great, great singers out here, man. But I wanted a little bit more. But it just didn't work out like that. So I had a bunch of people singing copyrighted music that nowadays wouldn't fly. But then again, it was on traditional broadcasting, and we had all of our ASCAP, BMI, and CSEC fees taken care of, so I could broadcast that stuff with no issue because all the licensing was done. To do that online, oh my God, it's a nightmare. It's so convoluted that like I guess it was in 2023. I got the itch that I wanted to do like a streaming radio station thing, right? But I wanted to do it right. Um, because I didn't want to start something that would get shut down because of those things like copyright and all that and licensing. And it's a nightmare. And to this day, it's still a nightmare. There's a couple legitimate services out there that offers licensing rights and such, and you can do it, but it's a mess. It is. It's not terribly expensive per se, but it's more headache than I personally find it ever to be. Somebody will fix that. Someone at some point will fix that. When, I don't know. Who, I don't know. Do I want it to be me? No. Maybe it's you. Maybe you're like, well, that is something. Maybe I should do that. And you figure it out. It's up to you. But I don't know. But that's the thing. Now, and I again, and what did I do? I just dove all the way through a ginormous memory hole, thanks to this little guy right here, this little fella right here. And I wound up doing so much with this little character because this iteration, which you can't really see very well since he's not painted up and everything, can't really see his details. Where did the other thing go? Oh, it's right here somewhere. Anyway, but he's actually like the second iteration of Odie because the first iteration of Odie was like this Photoshop amalgamation of three people. It was the members of the Ogres at the time. It was Ricky Breedlove, Tim Huddleston, and Alicia Urshery. She hadn't married me yet. We were working on that. But anyway, and I'd actually taken bits and pieces of their faces. And if you look real hard at the original Odie the Ogre graphic that I built, you can kind of pull them apart and you can see who's who. But I just thought that was funny. They were a team, so Odie was birthed from the team, and it was great. So I did all that, and again, we just went through that whole thing, and it was a great story and a great time and great opportunities to think about for the future. Because now we fast forward, what is that, 15, 16 years, 17 years, And but we fast forward and we look back, and this little totem right here of Odie the ogre holds all of that. He's a little time capsule. He doesn't move. He doesn't turn his head. He doesn't swing his club. Other than if you saw the little video I posted yesterday with that one app, Knock Knock NAUK. Odie was able to move and bash a ghost with his club. All the while he had his glowing demon eyes. I'm okay with that because it was fun to look at. But it's so awesome, man. Now, the reason I say this to you is at some point today, look around your office, your home office, your place, wherever your space, your nest is that you're in at the moment, and look around and see the stuff that you have around you. Pick one up, whatever it is, whatever it is. Even if you just got it yesterday, pick it up, and then ask yourself, what you got trapped in here, little Mr. Time Capsule? You might be amazed at what you see because you may have forgot a lot of things. And the point and purpose of that is so deep because not only does it bring back a memory that hopefully has a stronger positive pull than like an underlying gray lining around that silver cloud, but it also shows you that no matter how bad something was, you got through it. And it shows you that the good time that was the best time of your life, you probably had more best time since. And if not, you know it's possible you will have another best time of your life that will usurp that one. Just saying. Think about it. Look at it differently. The stuff you have is a time capsule. Tell me yours. What's a time capsule you have that right now you tried it? You listen to old Jim and all his nuttiness, but I bet it works. I bet it works. Guarantee it works. If you try. If you don't try, ain't nothing I can do for you. That's on you. Um, uh, Part of all of this, I'm also getting a little bit more serious about the Toys or Totems website. To put a little bit more depth. That way, people can go there to like learn more about the book, buy the book, whatever. But it's like, okay, well, why would you ever want to do that, right? What's in it for me? Well, I just told you there's one example, and there's a whole lot more examples like that in there. But if you go over to toysortotems.com, now there's a little bit of a hiccup with the button to get you to the blog, but we're going to be updating and expanding on these type of things here. So if you want to go a little bit deeper, it doesn't cost you a dime. Website's totally free, man. But you want to get in there and live a little bit more. Oh my gosh, it's today. Can you believe that? And my terrible little time capsule total. But that's okay. I'm happy because I made it. Anyway, but you can also subscribe and get in the loop on things and tell us all about this. Isn't that awesome? Tell us more. You should, because why the hell not? It's like life is for sharing knowledge and adventures and stories and experiences so we all make it better for one another. Because we all are working together on this thing. That ain't communism. That ain't socialism. That's humans being good humans. Conversation, man, as of now, is still free. So we should have some. 38 minutes into the 8 o'clock hour. Oh my gosh, what does that mean? 22 minutes from the 9 o'clock hour. Look at that quick little math lesson we did right there off the top of our heads. Another thing that was fun that I was talking about, because again, all right, this AI thing is amazing. It's also scary as hell. Now, let's look at the amazing part. Again, all of these things are tools, and what they do is up to you. What other people do with them is up to them. That can get dicey, but if you have an understanding of it, I think you're going to be okay. Because the truth is, the AI stuff has already been in our lives longer than they ever told us. There was a thing such as ChatGPT or 11 Labs with voice cloning or Suno with music generation. This stuff's been around a lot longer. This is not conspiracy talk. They just slow roll it out to the public. Um, just fact, right? So anyway, one of the things I've been playing with, because it just absolutely, it's mind numbing. It doesn't blow, at first it blew my mind. Now it's just mind numbing because I can do things now like my little Odie, right? To where I took the original two-dimensional graphic, just a flat picture, And I'm able to take the flat picture and go over to Maker Labs by way of Bamboo Studios, which is like the printer I have, that's their platform. Excuse me. I upload said photo in this one particular section. It does this little generating, 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 generating. And then once it gets done generating, I have a three-dimensional model like you see like in video games. Yeah, that's what it is. And you can do it in full color or you can do it in a single color. Discussion for another day. But it's all awesome. Anyway, so then I've got this 3D model that I then put into the slicer program that Bamboo Labs has. And I hit the magic button. And the magic button takes this 3D model and separates it out into little bitty lines, little tree sports. But then I hit the button, it goes to the printer, poof, I've got Odie the Ogre from a two-dimensional image. Can I make it better? Yes. With practice, I can get better at it by way of being able to tweak in programs like Blender, Mesh Mixer, stuff like that. Talk about the ability to make awesome, unique, customized GIFs. Whoa. But now then, another thing that I did, and another thing that is a point in the book is, or that I point out in the book, is that when it comes to like the toys and collectibles, and specifically like those 8-inch figures that I always talk about from the 80s, or excuse me, from the 70s and early 80s before the company went belly up due to fraud. Um, anyway, they are a great inspiration to me in learning things because, well, they're always there. They're always handy. They've always been there, right? But they're a cool tool. And then when I get a look at new technology, it gives me the opportunity to have something to play with that interests me, that carries that spark inside of me, or enlightens that spark inside of me. And so I use it. Why the hell not? Right. So yesterday, I really went all in on testing out the features of stuff of this. And so I went around and I grabbed images, Google image search for certain stuff. Right. I was like, okay. So anyway, long story short, right. Anyway, I went and I got images of like the heads for these little guys. And I found Spider-Man. So I got a picture of Spider-Man. I put it in there, and there is Spider-Man. And now these I like I printed like Spider-Man's printed in red, and then I hand painted the black and white. My painting skills suck at the moment. One day I'll get better. Then it was like next was the Hulk. Now you've seen, God, isn't that paint terrible? But you've seen that I've already done a Hulk thing before. It was like when I was first testing this thing out and I got big old giant Hulk here. Well, now I've got the more accurate 1970s version from the toy line. It's amazing. Anyway, so growing and learning and doing. And so anyways, I played with a few more of those and it just continues to blow my mind, like Human Torch. And like Iron Man with goofy eyeballs. But that was just the design of the day. What are you gonna do? And then I'll show you Falcon. Falcon, I'm pretty happy with. My paint sucked. I got a little shaky there at the top, and I gave him a little swash on his forehead. Point in all that. See, these little things that inspire me are a great way for me personally to learn how to do new things because I got something to that holds my attention and could be a subject of learning. I've used these things to teach myself animation, taught myself how to blog thanks to these things. Because when it was like back when blogging became like a buzzword, and I'm like, what the hell is blogging? Because the word was weird. So I'm like, I went and I looked at it and went, oh, you're writing. You're writing. That's what a blog is. I gotcha. And it's the way you collect those writings together and put them out to the world. I gotcha. So anyway, I put together a blog series, and with the first one I had done, it was when I first kicked off jimstoybox.com. And that was fun because it gave me an opportunity to kind of learn how to blog. And in doing so, I have mapped out 13. It's like that's just a habit. It's a totally random number for me to use, but like shows back in the day, I always had like 13 episodes. Anyway, so just pulled 13 items to talk about, and so I billboarded it as the wall, and the wall was a series of reviews on the things that were on my wall at the time, which happened to be a lot of those 8-inch figures. And so it helped me build out my structure of how I wanted to format and write these things for every day and then scheduling them out so they would hit every day Or I don't know if I did it daily or not. Might have been weekly. I can't remember. It was a long time ago. 2010? Yeah. So anyway, so I did that and I taught myself how to blog and build that structure and build a website, do all that. All thanks to these little guys like this, which in turn, if you're the entrepreneurial type, things are a little different now, but still the same. When I did that, and then I got into the habit of doing more with the site, jimstoybox.com, it evolved thanks to consistency and persistence. Consistency and persistence that I started doing more features. Some stuff was really good, some was incredibly stupid, and I'm still proud of my incredibly stupid stuff. But I went through all of those, and eventually it got the attention of Entertainment Earth. Now, entertainmentearth.com is an online retailer of collectibles and such. But they reached out. They said, "Hey, would you do a review for us?" I went, "Yeah, that's pretty cool." They didn't pay me, but they sent me the stuff, and I got to keep the stuff. I was like, "Well, that's pretty damn cool. I like this." I knew that was a thing. Don't get me wrong. I wasn't like Jethro, like, "Oh, golly." No, I knew that was a thing, but I wasn't really going for it. But then it happened. And so I wound up doing a few of those for Entertainment Earth. I did have an affiliate account. Made a couple bucks, literally just a couple of bucks. There's not a lot of money in that whole thing. Don't let the YouTube gurus kid you, man. Can you scale affiliate marketing? Yes, but it's a lot of work. It is not, even in the age of AI, where you can exponentially increase your activities and abilities, you are not. I mean, the odds of you really popping, going viral with it, and people making all these offers to you, that takes a lot of time because you got to prove your you got to prove your worth. That's like doing this podcast again. I had to prove to you, the wonderful viewers out there, that Jim's not crazy. Jim didn't totally disappear. Jim just needed some time. And then before Jim got back out in front of a camera or in the public or anything, Jim wanted to be solid where he could be consistent for you and for me and for Alicia and Caitlin and everybody else in my life. Because it's what you do, right? So that's it. All of those things evolved because of a little piece of plastic, not this one specifically, but a little piece of plastic that was able to be used as my teaching tool for myself to learn stuff. And that's why, even to this day, even though all of these things, for the most part, are available brand new again because the company was reformed and brought back, and then they started making these things again, and per damn close exact replicas, actually. And they're really good and they're fun and they were affordable. I mean, they were cheap again. That was great. Um, but that's why I encourage you to look at the things around you, be it on your desk, on your wall, on your shelf, at your office, at your home, wherever, and see what that little time capsule holds inside and break that bad boy loose. Because you never know what you're going to learn from it when you look, what you'll remember, what you'll feel, and you should. Because when it gets dark and when it gets lonely, you've got something that you can recapture. You can't recreate, but you can recapture a feeling and use that as the fuel that it once was. Think about it. Like, go back. Let's time travel one more time. We'll go back to like one of your first Christmas mornings that you remember. And when you cracked that one present open, that one paper, as you ripped it off and you saw that box that had that thing that was the thing. Now, put yourself right there. You see it ripping the paper. And now you're looking at this box and you're like, oh my God, it's the thing. Sort of like, remember like in Pulp Fiction when they open the case and the gold solar light, whatever, just the glow of it was in their face. And they're like, yeah, we good. You rip open the paper and you look at the box. You're lit up with the awesomeness of it. You look at your parents. Whoa, it happened. Whoa. And then you just rip the rest of the paper off, you dive into the box, you got your thing, and you're happy and you're playing. The energy is just running through you. You're super duper excited and having a wonderful time. Grab that moment right there. Grab it. Grab it. Feel it. And know that I bet you feel it again now. It's just like a shadow. It's just like the phantom of the moment. But remember, this brain box works on not the actual physical thing like your hand, It works on the impulses, the electrical impulses that get sent through your arm, up your spine, into your brain box to be translated for you, for your brain to then translate it to what it feels like, what it looks like, what it feels like, all that. And you can do that anytime. And once you realize that, oh my gosh, talk about a whole new way of seeing the world. That's what they talk. I really believe that's what they mean when you can form your own reality. Well, you can, because you can recapture that energy and those feelings from a time long past and long gone. And this is where it goes back into what I'm talking about when I use the toy metaphor. Well, it's not a metaphor, it's a physical thing, but it's also a metaphor. But when I talk about that, because if you go back and you think of that first Christmas and you rip open that package and you see that box and you pull out that toy or whatever it was, you could have been the kid that when you ripped open the package and you like, and you saw brand new socks and you're like, yes, those socks were the thing you just honest to God wanted more than anything else in the world at that moment in time. So you have your socks and they make you happy. You know what you can do now? Seriously, you can go online. eBay kind of sucks, but you can go to eBay and you can shop around and you can see if you can find that pair of socks. There's a good possibility somebody has those socks available, probably for more money than you spent back or your parents spent back then for you. But you can find those things. Or when you're out and about, say you go to a flea market or you're popping into the thrift stores to see what someone else's junk could be your treasure is, and you may come across it. Grab it. Grab it. Don't go too crazy. Gotta be careful. But grab it and see what happens. Remember that Christmas paper getting ripped open in that box, ripping open, pulling the thing out, and the excitement. Guarantee you, you'll feel it again and you'll see it again. Hold on to it. Because then, what was the next thing that happened after you had your thing and you were playing with it then? Your energy level was through the roof. And you had an amazing moment. How long the day stayed amazing, I don't know. But in that moment, you were great. You felt good, you were energetic, you were positive, you were happy, joyous, feeling the love. And you can bring that back by some silly pair of socks or a little piece of plastic. You can totally do it. And then you know what you could also do? Write that down. Get a piece of paper. Jack the Wonder Dog is having a sneezing fit, pardon me. But write that down. Because when you write that down, you're really locking in that memory. Or at least just the way you see it. Because, it's your story. You can kind of tweak it a little bit if you need to, because most people do anyway. But lock it in. Write it down. And then not only did you just lock it in for yourself and remember that feeling and know that you can call that feeling back up whenever you want, you just wrote something that, if you are so inclined, you could put into a binder, make a journal, save it for your kids and your grandkids, the future generations. A story from when you were at a certain point in time in the world, in their history. So you just shared something with them in the future that connects them to their past. That beats the hell out of one of those goofy ass DNA testing things where they were just stealing people's DNA. We're all Scandinavian from Lower East Africa. What? I don't know, but it was dumb. But anyway, but you can do that. You see, that's why this is what this book became and why it became. I'm not here to sell you a book today. I'm trying to tell you why I wrote it and how it worked for me and if it can work for you. I know it can because they're basic truths and it doesn't just involve little hunks of plastic. But the best part is it does. And they're fun and colorful. I like fun and colorful, even if I can't paint worth a crap. But I'm okay with it. It's clobbering time, baby. 8:54, 6 minutes away from the 9 o'clock hour. I love doing radio math. That's fun. I do. 26 degrees on the thermometer, cloudy sky out there, and it's supposed to be pretty nice. Going to get up into the mid 40s today. Why am I doing a weather forecast that's going to be completely dated? I don't care. It's just fun. I miss that. I mean, that was cool. It's like those little weather time checks and everything back in the day. The best thing about those, they can become a crutch. With a crutch meaning a thing that you will say versus having anything new to say when you're on the air. But at the same time, they can also kick you off again to where you're like, okay, I'm coming out of another Tim McGraw song. Oh my God. Tim McGraw, don't take the girl. It's 6 minutes away from the 9 o'clock hour. And then you can forget about Tim McGraw and that damn song. Yes, it's a good song. Yes, it's a sweet song. But if you play that thing as many times as I had to play that thing, please take that girl far, far away from me and make sure that Tim's following her with a rope tied around his ankle, dragging him behind the truck. That song got on my nerves. But anyway, it's been fun. Have you enjoyed this Tuesday? I've enjoyed this Tuesday. I hope you got something from this little conversation and coffee that we've had. We're going to do it again tomorrow with day 3. What are we going to talk about tomorrow? Tune in and find out, kids. Actually, I'm kind of tweaking exactly where we're going there. But anyway, we're going to have some fun. We're going to talk about things. It'll be Wednesday then. That's the future. And that's where we're going to be tomorrow in the future. Guys, thank you all so much for coming along. If you're in the comments, I apologize if I haven't seen them. I'm going to come back and respond accordingly as I can here in just a few minutes. And let's do it again tomorrow. If we're out and about, don't forget, ask for your purple cow. If you see me and you're paying attention, say, hey, Jim, give me a purple cow. I'll have one in my pocket just for you. But it'll only be one a day. But then I'm on the hunt for purple cow things that make this remarkable, something to talk about. And I'm like, whoa, dude, that's so cool. That is remarkable. Sort of like the milk sandwich index. That's pretty damn remarkable. I'd say the video popped like crazy, so I did something right there. Yeah, I can be a lighthearted guy. Now, again. I'm going to keep it that way. Anyway, have fun, gang. It's been a great time. I hope your coffee didn't get as cold as mine did because I wouldn't shut up long enough to drink it, but now I am. So let's do this in-screen thing, give everything a time to buffer out, hopefully not cut off. I don't know if I was stuttering and staggering or whatever. If I was, I promise I don't have Tourette's or epilepsy. It's just a flaw in the machine.